Welcome back everybody to the Wandering Samurai Study, in which we review and analyze every single act told in Rurouni Kenshin, and today's act is Act 41, The Second Secret Sword. This act was a real page turner. For the first time during the Raijuta conflict, I actually wanted to immediately jump into the next act, which I refrain from doing because I don't want to accidentally mix up something that happens in a later act thinking that it happened in this one. And so just like the original readers of Rurouni Kenshin, I am reading it week to week just like they were. Giving myself the chance to make the video and then read the next act. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the chapter summary, and we'll go ahead and talk about everything that happens here. Yutaro is in complete shock over his master's ambush on Kenshin. He attempts to rationalize the situation, and Raijuta ignores his pleads. Kenshin pushes everyone aside to avoid injury from Raijuta and hits him with an aerial Ryu's Suisen. Raijuta shrugs off Kenshin's attack and hits him with his secret sword, Tobi Izuna, a swift airstrike. Kenshin nearly dodges, but Yutaro is hit instead. With the boy down, Kenshin and the group run to check up on him when Raijuta demands Kenshin leave him alone to continue their duel. He reveals the truth about why he took Yutaro in as an apprentice. Now completely angry, Kenshin takes Yutaro to the doctor and promises Raijuta a living hell in an hour's time. Megumi and the Genzai sensei reveal that Yutaro's injury will never allow him to wield a sword again. So the first thing that I want to talk about is Sunosuke. This act was great for Sunosuke. He doesn't actually fight, but what he does is from the sidelines, he gets under Raijuta's skin. With every attack that Raijuta has on Kenshin and everything that he attempts to do, Sunosuke is there kind of chipping away at Raijuta's composure with every little comment. So my favorite being is, kind of the big one at the end of the act when Kenshin promises Raijuta a living hell. Sunosuke calls Raijuta a feathered doll man, telling him that he has no idea what he's gotten himself into, and that he's angered the most terrifying man in the world. Raijuta doesn't really let this get under his skin. He's pretty confident in his skill, but God, the promise that Sunosuke just laid before Raijuta, I really hope that Kenshin delivers, because even this panel of Kenshin promising Raijuta hell is kind of promising in that he is going to get his justice, especially after what he did to Yutaro. But some of my other favorite comments from Sunosuke is when Raijuta is trying to attack Kenshin and he keeps missing, and Sunosuke just tells him, well, a powerful attack is useless if it doesn't connect. Little things like that. You see the anger in Raijuta following each of Sunosuke's comments. This was a great act for Sunosuke, and I cannot think of a better character to suit this role. To have him here and then just kind of chip away at the composure of the antagonist rather than silently sit there along watching everything happen. God, what a beautiful moment for Sagara Sunosuke. So let's go ahead and talk about Yutaro and Yutaro's shock. How he's trying to rationalize the situation. And this is all just due because Raijuta is the one person in his eyes that can't do anything wrong. And so when Raijuta is doing these things and he's trying to rationalize it, his world is crumbling before him. The way that I see it is that Raijuta is Yutaro's Kenshin, the way that Kenshin is Yahiko's Kenshin. He looks up to this man as a superhero, as somebody with incredible strength, and he's holding on to everything that he does. In his eyes, he can't do anything wrong, and so when he's doing something wrong in front of him and it can't be ignored, he isn't just trying to save this image of his superhero, but he's trying to keep his very life together, everything that he's believed in. If you spend a lot of your time putting your faith in something and having it be wrong, you're going to try and save it the best you can because this is something that you hung on to. But that just leads us into the betrayal, because once Yutaro is injured, we find out Raijuta's connection to Yutaro and Yutaro's dad. The whole reasoning behind why Yutaro is following this man, or why this man has allowed Yutaro to follow him despite him not actually teaching him any swordsmanship. And that was just because he was using Yutaro's dad for money. The only caveat with using Yutaro's dad's money is that Yutaro's dad came with Yutaro. And because he looks up to Raijuta, Raijuta allowed him to call him sensei, but he really does not care about Yutaro. Not that it was a secret. I mean, it's pretty evident. Raijuta tells Kenshin that the reason he has a patron like Yutaro's dad is because swordsmanship is not profitable in the modern world. And to that, I kind of have to say, yeah, no, there's a reason why these small dojos are dying out. Swordsmanship has become a dying art. And for you to go and challenge dojos and close them, you're not helping the cause. Even though you think you are, you're kind of an You're contributing to the downfall of swordsmanship. If swordsmanship dojos are closing down because you're trying to create this Shinko Ryu, it is not helping bringing money into swordsmanship. You're kind of just wiping out this craft that has become niche in the modern era. The samurai class does not exist in the Meiji, and swords have been banned. It's like, what are you... Raijuta's frustrating, but the betrayal was necessary. It was necessary to really get Kenshin in on this fight, because Raijuta points out that this is now the third time that the two have fought, and he really wants to not drag it out anymore. But because Raijuta injured and cast aside the one person that cared about him the most, Kenshin is now personally involved, and it just goes against the very idea that Kenshin believes in, is living and letting others live. One person's way of life should not conflict with other people's living. And because of that, Kenshin promises him hell. Now Kenshin is absolutely angered because of the way Raijuta had decided to act towards the person that cared the most about him. And finally, let's talk about Yutaro's injury. Because Raijuta has taken away the one thing that he promised Yutaro, how to be a swordsman. And he failed on that promise. Once by not actually teaching him how to hold a sword, and now by making it so that he could never wield a sword. The whole moment with Raijuta injuring Yutaro and how he decided to handle that situation, and then the result of the injury is to make Raijuta completely irredeemable. I don't think that he's going to have a human moment at the end of the arc, the way that some of the other villains in the past have gotten. Sure, Jinei is a manslayer and he has taken life away, but at the very end he had a slither moment of humanity, where he believed that in this new age he did not belong, and so he continued to do the one thing that he knew how to do. With Raijuta, it's a little bit more complicated because he didn't outright kill, but he did take something precious away from a young child, a person of the following generation. And so when Yahiko hears the news of Yutaro no longer being able to wield a sword, it's the final panel in the page, in the chapter, and it's probably the most powerful one, because to Yahiko, he's the one that understands Yutaro the best. He is the most like Yutaro, the most relatable to Yutaro, because to him, swordsmanship is the very thing that keeps him moving in this new age. Seeing somebody who cares about swords just as much as him, even if they don't exactly get along and they butt heads every step of the way, he understands that to Yutaro, swords were also that. He didn't really care about anything else. Sure, he was rich, but like we don't see Yutaro caring about anything else. And so with that, Yahiko feels the pain that Yutaro is feeling right now. The shock in his face is very telling, and when reading this, the emotions of the news actually kind of hit me as well. It's the reason why I immediately wanted to run into the next act. But for that, we're going to have to wait until next week when we cover Act 42 of Rurouni Kenshin, because this has been Act 41 of Rurouni Kenshin, and you are watching The Wandering Samurai Study. If you like this video and you want to see more, then consider subscribing to the channel and leave a thumbs up and comment down below something that you liked about this act. What did you think of Sunosuke? What did you think of the betrayal? The news that Raijuta staged a robbery so that he could use Yutaro's dad for his money. Let me know down below. I'll see you guys all in the comment section. Until next time, bye everybody.